So, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about spirituality, books, and reading habits, basically. So, first of all, what is spirituality? For me, that has become to be known as joy, peace beyond materialism, beyond things and desires. Um, my interest for spirituality has been there since I was very small, thinking about gods and why things are as they are, if there is life after death. All these kind of things has been important to me to ponder about. I also was in the Swedish church when I was small, Lutheran church, so I got a lot of these um, ideas and perspectives from the teachings in the church, basically. As many of you know, I'm adopted from India as well, so I went back to India to explore my roots, and with that, I have, before I went, a great interest in Hinduism, especially. So by going back, I tied my identity to my Hindu roots in different ways, and been visiting many temples, also celebrate Hindu traditions here in Sweden, and combining that with my upbringing here in Sweden with Lutheran Christianity. So there is a blend of spirituality in my life. Because of different spiritual seeking during my life, I also have become interested in Buddhism, and that is basically the practice of meditation. It's not restricted to Buddhism, it's very intertwined with Hinduism, and also yoga, which is connected to Hinduism, especially. I've also learned how to pray, or how you express it through church. So I also have that kind of tradition within myself as well. Um, so the spirituality has always been there, very close to me. Having a peaceful soul, have a healthy body, and have a calm breathing, mindful, if you want to use that word. It's a bit misused, I think. And I think a very important part of spirituality is to feel humble to everything we are, privileged to experience because we just live, and also to be fragile, and also to be open to new perspectives. Spirituality is all over the world. It has been expressed in so many ways. Um, this is only a video about the for the soul, spirituality for the soul. There's a lot of other things going on when we talk about spirituality, especially the religion or institutionalized faith, that is more related to power struggles and politics and history and maybe war even. That is not the purpose for this video. Um, and if you are, curious on spirituality, but you tell yourself that you don't believe in God, you might be an atheist, I think this video is totally okay for you as well, because you don't need to believe in that way to be able to digest and enjoy this video. Because spiritual seeking today usually seems to start, especially in the West, because people try to find balance or try to find a stability in a world that is uh, rolling very fast and is very much result oriented and focused on achievement, etc., etc. Um, Spirituality and the seeking for that kind of peace might be connected to more concepts like no pressure, there is no way to go, there is no achievement to make, for example. So spirituality and the need for spirituality can come from these, if you have these big philosophical questions that I had, and it also can also come if you don't have that, but you have the psychological need, you could say, for stability. Through that, you also can be interested by spiritual search. So anything goes, and Nothing is better than the other. It's your way and it's your journey. Um, when it comes to books, there are, I think, three or four ways to tackle that, and find books within the spiritual genre. First of all, we have the spiritual, the religious texts, of course, famous texts from the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita, for example, in Hinduism, or you have the Buddhist sutras, for example. You can have Zen scriptures, also Buddhist, for example. You have other books as well, Sufi sources, for example. But maybe that's not the way to go for you. If you're not really into this, then there are inspiring texts, usually written by authors or by self-taught meditation teachers, and so on. And there are also inspiring texts that can be linked to religion or spirituality, but they don't need to be that. So you can, as you know, I'm a supporter for. You can read Lord of the Rings, you can read Malazan Book of the Fallen, you can read philosophical books like Walden, for example, by Thoreau, and find spiritual value within that. You can write poetry, you can write and read poetry, of course, that has spiritual depth. So it doesn't need to be connected to faith in that sense. I have some books, of course, besides me that I would like to show you, but I will do that in the end. I will talk a little bit about my own spiritual journey for a while, and as I said, I grew up in a Christian family and went to church, and was really interested in that, and about who is God, what is divine, and so on. So I was curious on the stories in the Bible, especially the Easter message, or the crucifixion or of Jesus, and because I think that story is obviously very highly transcendental, and that it's expressed that God, I think God's kingdom is within your heart. I think a contemplative reader can correct me if I'm wrong here, but that kind of message for me is very strong, and it also connects to many other spiritual faiths and religious beliefs that there is something divine in the soul, if we talk about souls. Growing up here in Scandinavia, the idea for me was to, learn about the traditions here, of course. And I was curious on Norse mythology, and the polytheistic nature of that led me to Greek mythology, for example, and later, and also quite early actually, to Hindu mythology, especially this one, Ganesha, because I have a Ganesha on the wall that I got when I was very small, and I always liked the elephant-headed god. So I tried, I think, quite early to find, different religious and spiritual stories that could satisfy my hunger for the questions I had about identity and about divinity, about God, and so on. Fantasy came into that perspective too, I think, especially Lord of the Rings, because it has obviously, I think, spiritual value, even if it's maybe commentary about the situation in Europe. I know Tolkien says no, that's not how it is, or said, but it's very easy to interpret that when you read Lord of the Rings, especially in relation to the First World War and the Second World War. That doesn't mean that it's not spiritual values. There you have the elves, and you have the history of the Middle Earth, for example. Books like Malazan Book of the Fallen, that you know that I'm a big fan of, and at the moment I'm reading the Book of the New Sun. Obviously many spiritual themes here if you're interested on what themes, please check out the video that I've done with a contemplative reader, Jay, here on the channel. I'll put the link in the description below. So you can find different ways to connect to your spirituality. I have, as I said, a few books here besides me, still a bit of a cliffhanger. So spirituality, maybe the big spiritual questions led me to spirituality. Then later in life, the formative years when you are growing up, I maybe became more interested in psychology and balance between work life and your free time, for example, and taking care of my soul, taking care of my body in yoga. We talk about different bodies, for example, spiritual body, physical body, and so on. Finding peace in a very stressful, sometimes, stressful life. So therefore, meditation and tea drinking is part of that. Came into my life. I learned meditation. I can teach meditation. I have gone a lot of educations on how to teach meditation. That led me into Buddhist texts, mostly Zen Buddhist texts, and how to practice meditation. You can do that even if you don't like Buddhism or are interested in Buddhism. I mean, breath is something human that we all do, and learn to breathe calmly is useful every day, every time during the day. And by reading slow, by breathing slow, by enjoying making a cup of tea mindful, you can bring in peace into your reading. And for me, spirituality is a lot about this feeling of just being here. Maybe a cliche, but the cliche is true. Do not think about the future, do not think about the past. Be here, enjoy what you have, if possible with less rather than more. Further in life, I unfortunately got diagnosed with diabetes. That's not so long ago, and that has led me into other kind of books on the body. But the body is your temple, as I see it, and having a peaceful soul, mind, then, and a peaceful, healthy body, that's part of being connected and being spiritual, no matter what you believe in. So with that said, I have a few books beside me that I want to show you. And first, I've divided them by faith here. And I will actually start with this one. This is a book by Miriam Levering, Zen. I know there are many Americans watching these videos and some Canadians as well, and I think Zen in the US, at least what I can see through popular media, is a kind of expression for being Zen and so on. If you just look at the teachings of Zen, it's meditation practice, just sitting, not going anywhere, no achievements. I'm very affected by that kind of thoughts in my own practice because I practice myself. What Zen has is they have a lot of poems, and I think this book is very good illustration of that. Let's see, yeah, you can see like this, poems. Short poems, haiku. Haikus you can write for yourself, and you can read haikus. It's a special form of poetry with syllables, I think it's called in English. It's a certain set of number of syllables that you have to use, and there are rules for how to write a haiku. Very short. It should be when you write it, it should be a epiphany. something you just come up with in the moment, and then you write it down, and then you start to work with it to create it as a haiku. The best thing is if you just write the haiku right away, but that is very difficult. Also Zen is connected to all these kind of beautiful pictures and peaceful pictures and so on. So that's something you can try to explore if you want to. It's you can do that without being into Buddhism. You can also try to focus on other books which is connected to practice. Maybe this one is not the best, but if you're new to it, but if we just look at what it says, it's pranayama. This is a special meditation technique, you could say, within yoga, where you just focus on the breath. You regulate the breath. You breathe in on for counting 4, you breathe out counting 8, for example. So that's a way. There are books about that. That can be interesting for you. That's too much for you, I don't know. Then you have comics like this, for example. There are spiritual comics about religion and spirituality, also of all religions, I think. So you can try to find them and read. If you just do it for entertainment, so of course, that's okay. We also have this is one I really like and that I've recommended to some of you on the channel, The Wise Heart by Jack Kornfield. These are obviously Buddhist teachings. He's an American Buddhist teacher, and this is about healing and compassion. So this is one book I really recommend to you if you are curious on getting tools how to start your journey on becoming more peaceful. He has done other books, A Path with Heart, for example, which is maybe the best one to start with. There are also other kind of books that you can read if you're just interested in the stories of religion. I think the Bible is good. My daughter, when she was small, she put a sticker here, and this is my confirmation Bible, by the way. And as I said, I really like the Easter stories about Easter and the crucifixion of Jesus or Christ. There are many beautiful stories here in the Bible, and they are, of course, popularized as well in illustrated form and also on movies. There is an HBO series about the Easter. It's called The Passion, I think. It's not the famous movie. This is a very good TV show about the days and what happened during Easter for Jesus and his followers. Also, so you can actually read, I think you can read religious texts right away, especially you who are really into this channel. I think I'm definitely sure you can do that if you haven't already done it. Another book I have here is the Bhagavad Gita. It's from the Mahabharata, which I have here in my lap. This is very, very famous, used in spiritual teachings, but you can read it as a story. It's war between two groups, and the warrior here, Arjuna, he doesn't want to do this because he knows people on both sides. He has relatives on both sides. He doesn't know what to do. So he falls to the ground and asks, what am I going to do? And then Krishna, the Hindu god, is teaching him yoga and many perspectives on life. And it's about the soul. It's about how it wanders, what happens after death. It's about what a soul is. is about what yoga you can do and so on, according his teachings. If you never have seen this, I really recommend you to look into that. It has, like the Easter stories, transcendental value. This is a version from Pune, um, and it's nice. You have Sanskrit above and the the transliteration, and then you have the English below. So you can find this in different places. Especially, it's very easy to find. I would recommend you to buy a version that is not commented. If you buy a commented version, you should buy one that is only commented on historically, not with interpretations. I think you should read this like you should read, I think, the Bible too, without comments. You can have references and so on, but I think it's valuable not to have another person interpreting what you read for you. Just see what you feel, what you think about it. This one I've shown before. This is Mahabharata. I recommend it to you strongly. It's a popularized version written by Carol Satyamurthy, and this is written in blank verse, Shakespearean style, and it's about this great war between Pandavas and Kauravas. So on the Indian subcontinent, this story is very, very popular in India, and there was a famous TV show in the 80s, which everyone that I know in India and Maharashtra, those who have seen it talk about it very nostalgically. So not everyone, but a lot of people I know that do that. So I think you should read this if you haven't done it. It's with fantasy standards. It's not that long. It's only 900 pages, so why not go for that? Another way to approach spiritual books is, of course, to just look up, books that have facts. There are many. This is one about Hinduism. You can find it very easily if you just search for that, and you can find about Buddhism, Hinduism. Karen Armstrong, for example, has written a lot of books. For example, about the Buddha. For example, I can recommend that one. So there are many things you can do, and you can also explore, as I said, fantasy genre and the mythological, with that meaning ancient beliefs that are not practiced today, as far as I know, like Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Egyptian mythology, so on. There are many mythologies all over the world. Celtic, for example. Find those stories. Wherever you live, there are probably native populations or tribes, so to speak. Native Americans, for example. We have Sápmi people here in Scandinavia that have stories that have deep spiritual value. I recommend you to explore them as well. And while you do that, as I said, you can combine things that you can add things to your reading, like slow breathing, like drinking a cup of tea, like reading slow, reading for enjoyment. Because when you read slow, you read to treat your soul, I would say, because blood sugar and blood pressure is decreasing when you are reading. You have to do other things to decrease blood pressure and also blood sugar. You have to work out, for example, things like that. But not increasing your stress levels is good for your body and soul, and in that way you can implement that into your reading. So that was a few thoughts from me, how to approach spirituality, what you can read, what you can explore. I use now more than before get questions on what books I recommend, or actually what what recommendations I have to live a slower life. So if you have stayed all up until now, please let me know if you are interested in, you could say, my take on meditation, my take on yoga, my take on living a slower life. If you would like to have videos of that, I would very much like to do that, but I want to know if you want to listen to them first. So with that said, I will see you soon. I will make a few videos this weekend, I hope, as I always hope, you know. Um, and I'm looking forward to see your comments. What were your thoughts about this? Spirituality for you, what does it mean? Spirituality in books, do you have any recommendations? And do you think this is applicable to you, even if you maybe are an atheist, for example? So with all those questions, I leave you pondering. See you next time. Bye.